An open statement will follow questions.
Fantastic. Well, here we are. It goes by fast. You know, last week of the season, we put the game to bed Sunday night, and it's on to Louisiana Tech, where you hope you will always be as a program, where you're going in the last week of the season with an opportunity to win a conference championship. There's not many teams that can say that. I thought our guys battled back, you know, against Old Dominion, considering the circumstances where our team knew that realistically the game didn't mean anything. Win or lose, we were going to have a chance to play for a conference championship against Louisiana Tech to win the West starting, and then, you know, if you win that, then a chance to play either Marshall or Western Kentucky. But I did think our guys had a really good week last week preparing for Old Dominion. We didn't play our best. It's hard to play your best all the time, but I did think our guys battled. When we needed to make some plays, we made plays to give ourselves a chance to win. Obviously, it's a real challenge this week, the way it's kind of turned out for our conference, which is awesome, where you've got, it's come down to the wire in both divisions on the last week of the season. And, you know, Skip's done a really good job over there. He's a good football coach. Last year they obviously won the West and had every opportunity to beat Marshall for the conference championship, went on to win the bowl game, and a number of those guys are back. They've obviously added Jeff Driscoll, who's a great kid. I'm happy for him, the opportunity for him to take another step forward in his career. It doesn't matter what level, it's fun to win, and it's fun to be counted on to make plays, and he's done that. They've got a great running back. They're really good on defense, got good skill players. So it's going to be a real challenge for us, you know, and that's what it's going to be. If you're playing for a divisional championship or you're playing for a conference championship, you're going to play good people. You've got to find a way to do it better than they do, starting with Sunday night, and then obviously this week, how do we do things better than they do it leading up to Saturday. And it's going to be fun. I told our team, let's not fear this game. There's no reason to fear it. This is what you want to play for. This should be exciting for you. If you put yourself in enough of these opportunities, you're going to break through, and this is the next step.
Coach, defensively, obviously much improved. We talk about it week over week, but I was looking over the numbers, and it's not just keeping a team to a certain number of yards or keeping them off the scoreboard or whatever, but the number of 3-and-outs over the last 5 games. Out of 70 offensive drives for the other team, you guys have held them to 3-and-out 28 times, which seems like a pretty high percentage to me.
It is. It's you know, it's a tribute to the players that we have. It's a tribute to our coaching staff. You know, I think also what adds to that is when you're successful offensively, it all plays together, where when you put teams in a position where they have to throw it, then, you know, you're going to give yourself more opportunities when they're throwing it all the time. So, you know, again, our defense has played well. Really, the last time I can think where we didn't play well, there was probably, in this game, probably the second and third quarter, I wouldn't say, but the back half of the third quarter, the fourth quarter, and the start of the game, we were tremendous. You know, you'd probably have to go all the way back to Nebraska, the first half of Nebraska, to when we didn't play well collectively. And we got on our heels that game a little bit, and a little bit this week we did. So I'm a credit to that. And we've stayed healthy. That's probably been another one of the biggest things is, you know, what we've had at the start of the year, we got banged up a little bit, but for the most part, our team has stayed healthy and continue to get better.
What was the message at halftime that enabled you guys to have such a big second half?
Oh, again, first of all, let's talk about the second half. All right, we came out and scored, but then they came down and scored. We went down and didn't get a fourth down, and they scored. So we went from down 3 to then all of a sudden they came all the way back and we were down 10. So whatever I said, didn't have that much of an impact. That's overrated. I mean, it's there was really nothing they were doing that was anything different. It was just, how are we going to change a few things, and how are we going to do it better? That's really what it's all about. Yeah, there's a few things they did differently schematically, and there's a few things we did differently offensively, and vice versa. And that's the puzzle that you're always trying to figure out. That's what it is. It's a big puzzle. How do we do it better than they do it, irrespective of talent? So that probably was the biggest piece. How do we figure this out? Not that you're not doing it throughout the game, because you are, but you do have a little bit of time there to kind of collect your thoughts. But in the end, there was nothing different. We just got to do it better. We were just a little bit off in terms of our focus, our mindset, and all we need to do is get back to that, and we were going to give ourselves a chance to play the game. We were the home team. We were going to eventually, if we got things turned, get the crowd in our favor, and we did.
Coach, when David Washington went down, the starting quarterback for ODU, and they bring Bentley in, he's a completely different type of quarterback. He's not a runner. He's a true pocket passer. Did it take a few series to kind of adjust to the difference in their play style after preparing for Washington all week?
I don't know if it was that as much as, here's a young man that's a coach's kid, the Bentley kid, and that really probably they function in terms of an offense just every bit as well with him, understanding where to go with the ball. And he did a really good job for them, really did, coming in after losing his job a while ago, and then, in and out. But sure, I mean, I thought we were doing a good job early, and he really came in and kind of solidified things and made some throws, and so credit to him and their coaching staff.
How do you feel like their change of defensive coordinator has affected them defensively, specifically against the pass?
Oh, I don't know about, how that's really affected. They still do a very good job. They run similar styles. Obviously, a personality is going to play in that. When you change coordinators, even if you're running the same system, there's going to be some changes. There's going to be some differences, especially in critical areas, whether it's third downs, score zone, when you call blitzes, how do you attack certain offenses. But I think it's unfair. It's a week-to-week, game. They played Western Kentucky. That's a really good throwing team. So that, and that when you're winning games, teams are going to throw the football. So I've always thought that the passing yards, especially when you're winning, is which they are, is blown out of proportion. It's really, are you stopping teams from being balanced, which they have done a nice job of. They have stopped teams from being balanced. Last week, UTEP ran the ball pretty good, but they threw it okay. Well, they weren't balanced. And, I think the key to any successful offense is balance, something we've been able to achieve this year, which we hadn't been. We knew we'd have to be able to do that to be able to keep Nick upright and shrink the number of turnovers that we've had. And we've done a great job of that. The best teams I've been around, we've been able to be balanced. And balance isn't always in a certain quarter or part of the game. It's just as an overall philosophy. Sure, there's times if they do this, we have to throw it. And if they do this, we have to run it. But as an overall philosophy is we'd like to end up each game, if possible, and at the end of the year being fairly balanced in terms of how we attack people.
Coach, over the past few weeks, kind of shuffled up the offensive line a little bit. You got some new guys in new positions. Do you feel like those guys are kind of solidifying after 2 games with their new roles?
Sure, and really it's Fleming, that's playing tackle now, and he's bounced around a little bit. He's only going to continue to get better. And Oliver Bates has been at guard. So really it's just, the guards inside that we've moved around, the 3 guys, and now the 3 guys at tackle. That, we kind of probably went from an 8-man rotation to more of a 7-man rotation.
You and Coach Holtz go back quite a ways, spent 2 years on the same staff, is that right? Talk about just how relationships play into.
Well, it's interesting. I was a graduate assistant, and it changed my career path forever. I'll always be indebted to a number of people in the coaching profession, but obviously, Skip's dad, who hired me as a GA, and I learned so much being there under Coach Holtz. And Skip was the receiver coach. And my first year I was with the running backs. My second year I was with the secondary. But I improved in those 2 years as a coach, being around him and his father than I could ever, at any other time in my career. So, I've known Skip since then. Obviously, we went, I would say, different directions, but he got a job, became a head coach, and I was an assistant. I always kept track of him, as I'm sure he did myself. And it's funny how 20-something years later, all of a sudden we're in the same league and coaching against each other. And when we're at the coaches' deals we've got to do, we kind of hang together a little bit. And his wife Jen is great, and so I'm happy for him. I'm happy he got another opportunity as a head coach, because he did a great job at Connecticut, did a great job at East Carolina, and sometimes situations aren't, that easy. I mean, we went through it here. And to get another opportunity, because I'm sure he wasn't sure, hey, am I going to get another opportunity to be a head coach? And he's taken advantage of it and has deserved all the success that he's had so far.
How good is Kenneth Dixon, and what does he do that makes him that way?
Well, I think he's a tough football player. You watch him run, he rarely goes backwards. I think that's, And we did a good job on him last year, and then he took that check down that really kind of broke our backs. You know, even though we weren't scoring, we were kind of still in control of the game, or at least in it. And then when he had that, I don't know, 2nd and 20 or something, he went 85 yards for a check down on a touchdown. And that kind of sparked them a little bit. So he can do it a number of ways. They throw it to him, they check it down to him, and once he gets his pads going vertical, the biggest thing with big, powerful, tough backs is, can you make them go sideways? If you can make them go sideways, they're not nearly as effective. But that's what happened on that check down. He got his pads going downhill, and we weren't able to get him on the ground. But you know, he's a tremendous player. I'm disappointed he didn't come out early for the draft. I was recommending that to him, but he chose not to do that.
All year long, the mentality has been one game at a time. How does that approach change now that you know it all comes down to this one game?
It doesn't change. I mean, it definitely doesn't change because it really is one game. You know, before you still have more games, but for sure this is it. I mean, yeah, we'll have a bowl game, but this is it. We've known we've had a bowl game for a couple weeks now, so this is it. This is fun. This is exciting. You know, I'm sure, you know, our fans should look at it that way. Their fans should look at it. This is where you want to be, you know. And when you play a good team, you know, there's going to be some challenges. It's not going to be as easy as you know, some of the teams that we played at times to bounce back. So those little things that are going to make a difference are really going to show up for both teams. You know, the better the opponent you play, you know, it's going to come down to these few plays and the mistakes that you make or don't make.
Lance Schubert has become almost legendary, both on the field and some of his trick shots off the field. Have you seen any of those trick shots, and do you
well, first of all, let's talk about Lance. Lance has been here now 5 years. He is as good a snapper as I've ever been around, and you don't even think about it. You don't even think about a bad snap or him covering, and he's been a tremendous leader for us. And I can't say enough of how far he's come, and all of us come together. But you know, those trick shots, you know, with video these days, you don't know how many takes that, you know, how many takes is it to get a trick shot? I mean, if you want to spend all day trying to snap one into a bucket or hitting something off a head or, you know, hit an apple off a head or something, I don't know. I'm happy he likes to do that. Everybody has stuff they like to do in their free time. He just happens to like to do trick shots. Specialists like to do that stuff. They get bored. They get bored. They have to find things to do.
Especially this late in the season. How much stock when you're game planning for an opponent do you put into common opponents? I mean, you guys are both 4-1 against the only 5 common opponents you've had. Do you put any stock into that? I mean,
you know, common opponents, I think people view it that way, but when you play a team, you know, how beat up are they? You know, so that's if you play them at home, you play them on the road. I think it's very tough to get into that. You know, sure, is there an average? Is it, hey, do we kind of think, hey, you get kind of an overview of that, but really it comes down to their players and our players this game, this week, how we play, how we prepare. That will have a huge impact on how we play Saturday. So I know they're a good football team. I know we're a good football team. So that's what it's really about, the matchups, how we're going to attack them in all 3 phases, and how we think they're going to attack us. So, you know, that's always going to be the case when you're in the same division. You're going to have common opponents. So, you know, that's just the way it is.
What would a win that roster mean, getting to 9 and then having a chance to go for 10, 11, bowl game, conference championship? What would that mean to this program?
Yeah, it's just one more step. You know, it's about steps. It's about getting yourself to where you feel like what this program was built on, which is always being a bowl team. And, you know, this program has the most Conference USA championships of anybody that's ever played in this league. So it's been built on championships. Jeff Bauer started that. Larry continued that. So that's what we have, is to live up to that legacy and building our own legacy. So do our guys understand that? Yes, but you have to get to the first plateau, which is, okay, your own team's confidence. That's the start, is having enough players and doing it well enough in the off season and then your practices to where your confidence is building individually, which leads to your team's confidence, and then putting the product on the field. So, okay, we've accomplished that first goal, which is being a bowl team. Okay, here we are, staring us right in the face. Are we satisfied with that? God, I hope not, okay? Because we are at this point. We've earned it. This isn't a gift. We didn't just fall into this where, hey, there's an automatic playoff and you guys just happen to be 3-4 or 4-3. No. We've lost one game to a good Marshall team on the road and we didn't play our best. We've earned this. We're good enough. So that's where I don't want our guys, okay, well, no, we're good enough. Let's take advantage of this opportunity.
Was there a point during the season where you noticed, or didn't, or maybe didn't, but where the players where it did click for them, like all of them collectively, where it was like, we go from where we believe we can win to where we're expecting to win, no matter who's on the other side?
I think there was a couple times, you say that, but, we played Marshall and didn't play as well offensively, we played good on defense, but it might have been somewhere around that point to where we, I think the initial was Mississippi State, where you say, okay, we've improved. We thought we'd improved. Did we win the game? No. Is there moral victories? No. Were we significantly better? Yes. Did our team feel that? Yes. Did our fans feel that? Yes. Okay, so then you go to Texas State, and at that moment, we played as well as we've played other than Rice offensively. I don't know what we had, 11 possessions, 8 touchdowns. That's crazy, okay? But defensively, we just were on our heels. And so we weren't at that moment yet defensively. Then all of a sudden, yeah, we go to Nebraska, don't play a great game, one half of defense, one half of, and we just don't play as well. Then Marshall, we start playing well defensively. Really, that started us playing well defensively. We were moving it offensively, just they had a lot to do with it. We didn't function as well as we needed to. But at that moment, I think our guys started believing, and then we started having really good practices, and our guys started listening and having great weeks. And so, there's a point in all of that where you're sitting there going, you still have confidence, but it's not bad to have a little bit of fear in your life, and then if I don't do this, then this could happen. That's a part of it, There's reward and there's punishment. That's it. The reward of knowing, hey, if we win, that feeling of the fight's on in the locker room and playing for championships and being a part of something special. There's also the feeling, if I don't prepare, I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to be this end, whether it's your life or your job or this football team. So I think our team has done that, and we have the talent and the coaching to do that.
Talking about the Mississippi State game, leading up to the all season, that was everything everybody talked about was that one game, and that was kind of crazy. 2 or 3 months later, how fast it's going to where you guys know all the hype is playing for a championship.
It is, and I don't ever take it for granted. It's a week-to-week, profession. You can't carry over stats. You can't carry over yards. You can't carry over, well, this should be a high-scoring game. This should be a low-scoring game. I have no idea. I just know what it looks like and what it should look like in preparation for the week. That's what it's all about. It's about recruiting, developing, and coaching better. How do we prepare ourselves this week to give us the best chance to go on the road, which is going to be difficult. We're the ones that got to travel. We got to go play there. They get to finish it at home, but that's the challenge. That's the way the schedule worked out. So you want to be a champion, you want to win the West, we're going to have to go there and find a way to move the ball and stop them.
In your humble opinion, what will it take to accomplish the USA Championship this year?
We just got to play good football. We're good enough. We just have to play our best. We don't have to do anything outside of ourselves, just starting with this week, because that's all that matters is this week, Louisiana Tech. We just have to play as well as we're capable of playing, because we have enough talent. We got good coaches, so we just have to go and play and not fear the moment, embrace it. Embrace the moment to go play for a championship. That's what it's all about. If you don't enjoy this, I don't know why you're playing. I have no idea. If that's what you're trying to win a championship. Let's go do it.
Anything else?